Today, we're diving into an absolutely wild true story of incredible ambition and, well, pure chilling evil, all set against the backdrop of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair.
All right, let's get right into it. So picture this. It's Chicago, turn of the century. You've got two brilliant, blue-eyed men who are, in their own ways, shaping the city's destiny. On one hand, there's Daniel Burnham, the architect. His job, to build an absolute dream city to blow the world away. And then you've got Dr. H. Holmes. He's also building something, just a few miles away. But his project is a total nightmare. One guy is creating a vision of progress, and the other is basically engineering a whole new kind of modern horror.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this strange, unbelievable paradox of the time. You had this age of just astonishing invention and creation, and at the exact same time, unspeakable evil, all drawn to this one single event, the World's Fair. Their stories run on these parallel tracks, a perfect symbol of the light and the darkness that were fighting it out as America was growing up. So let's kick things off with the dreamer, Daniel Burnham, and the frankly impossible task that was dropped in his lap.
Okay, so to host the World's Fair, Chicago had to pull off something nobody had ever seen before, and they had to do it ridiculously fast. The pressure on the head architect, Daniel Burnham, was it was insane. He had to conjure this magnificent city out of what was basically a swampy, ugly piece of land, all while fighting off financial panics, terrible weather, and massive labor strikes. And the result? It was a mind-blowing success. The fair became this huge cultural phenomenon. To put that number in perspective, it's like almost half the entire country packed their bags to come see what Burnham had built. It was the event of a lifetime.
People were just completely floored by this white city. Try to imagine seeing it for the first time. Over 200 massive, gleaming white buildings, beautiful lagoons, and right in the middle of it all, the world's very first Ferris wheel, a machine so enormous it made the Eiffel Tower look small. It was like stepping into another world, a vision of heaven right there on Earth.
And this fair wasn't just something to look at. It literally introduced America to things that would become a part of daily life. I'm talking about stuff we totally take for granted today, like juicy fruit gum and Cracker Jack. People experienced them for the very first time right here. It fundamentally changed American culture, from what people ate to what they thought was even possible. But as Burnham's beautiful white city was stunning the world, a very, very different kind of city was taking shape just a few miles away. And this is where our story takes a really sinister turn. So you have this guy, H. Holmes. He's smart, he's handsome, he's charismatic, and he's completely twisted. He uses all that charm and intelligence not to create, but to destroy. He builds this hotel, a place designed with one single purpose, to lure people in, trap them, and kill them. And here's the truly chilling part. It's how he built this labyrinth. He was constantly hiring and firing his construction workers. Why? So that no single person other than him would ever understand the building's full horrific layout. Each worker only ever saw one tiny piece of a monstrous puzzle. And make no mistake, this wasn't some chaotic, messy violence. Oh no, this was cold, calculated, and controlled. He had all sorts of methods, from piping gas into sealed rooms to using chloroform. It gave him total power over his victims, turning their temporary home into a tomb. So here's the crucial thing to understand about Holmes. For him, murder wasn't just some twisted compulsion. It was a business. It was a cold, methodical, and profitable enterprise. He saw people as raw materials. And at a time when medical schools were desperate for skeletons to study, Holmes found a way to turn pure evil into a revenue stream.
So the big question is, how did Burnham's triumph, this amazing beacon of beauty and progress, accidentally create the perfect hunting ground for America's first notorious serial killer?
While the sheer scale of the fair created this massive, unstoppable river of people flooding into Chicago, this incredible chaos gave Holmes two things every predator dreams of: an endless supply of potential victims and the perfect cover of anonymity. In a crowd that huge, who's going to notice one more person just vanishing? And that was the crazy thing about Chicago back then. The city was just teeming with newcomers, and people disappeared all the time. The police were completely overwhelmed, and honestly, they were often indifferent, especially if the missing person was, say, a young woman without money or connections. It was the perfect environment for a guy like Holmes to operate completely under the radar.
His charm was his #1 weapon. He preyed on the exact same spirit of adventure that brought these young women to Chicago in the first place. He was an expert at disarming them, making them feel safe and looked after, all while he was leading them into a trap they would never, ever escape.
So, what happened to these two men? Their paths ran so close, but never actually crossed. How did their stories end? And what did they leave behind for us?
Well, after the fair, their lives went in completely opposite directions. Burnham was celebrated as a national hero, a visionary genius. Holmes, on the other hand, was eventually caught. And get this, not for the dozens of murders, at least not at first. He got tripped up by a simple insurance scam. His end was sordid and pathetic, while Burnham's was celebrated for decades.
So in the end, you have these two totally opposite legacies. Burnham gave us the City Beautiful movement, this idea that grand, beautiful public spaces could actually make our cities and our lives better. It shaped American city planning for a century. Holmes, well, he gave us the blueprint for a new kind of American monster, the charming, intelligent serial killer who hides in plain sight.
You know, the White City itself is gone. It was a temporary dream that just vanished. But the nightmare that Holmes created, that has become a permanent fixture in our cultural imagination. It really leaves you wondering about that thin line between progress and peril, and what kind of darkness might be hiding just underneath the surface of our own grand ambitions.